What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not much. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know if I told you, but I'm dating that girl.
Dating? Or?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You remember that girl I met? Sarah?
Sarah?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. She's a girl like that. She has that brother whose like best friend is like roadieing for Duran Duran.
Duran? Like Duran?
Yeah, Duran Duran. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. No, it's awesome. Yeah, she's great. We're pretty in love. I think we're gonna go to the Bahamas in like 2 weeks.
The Bahamas?
Yeah, the Bahamas. The Bahamas.
No way.
Yeah, I think.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Things are good. I mean, I'm even thinking marriage. I don't know. I mean,
Marriage.
Yeah, marriage. That's what I said.
Marriage. Like marriage.
Yeah, marriage. Bahamas. Duran. Everything twice. Why do you keep saying it twice back to me? Do you not hear it the first time? You only have to tell me once, okay? Once.
Just once.
Yeah, once.
Once.
Nashville, known worldwide as a serious music city. We say, would it kill you to laugh a little?
Coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, it's live from Little Hollywood.
Featuring Caitlin Cannon, Alice Wallace, Dina Barabash, Stuffy Schmidt. This week's guests, photographer Jeff Fasano and artist Sonia Leigh.
Welcome, everybody. This is Scot Sax, and over to my right, your left, God's underneath, and the devil's up above. I'm just trying to tell them exactly where you're at. Right above the devil and right below God. To the right of me, to the right of Sam.
Sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
My favorite part is setting up because everybody involved in this show is a musician of some sort, and everybody's riffing when Sam is playing the guitar, making up lyrics and.
He's doing, he's playing what my daughter Josephine calls, if I play anything like that during the day, she's like, Dad, this is dinner music. I'm like, that's right. Give me my steak and shut your pie hole.
Is noodling an offensive term for a guitar player?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think they referred to our guitar player in Wanderlust back in the olden days as, I think, wanking.
Oh, that's much worse.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
Here, that's the lyric. Let's try that, Sam. Play me that non-offensive. Yeah, I'd rather noodle than wank for you. Noodle and wank because you do what you do. I think I just accidentally wanked for you. Now give me one last chord. Wank.
You found the note.
Well,
notes.
You got to give me enough time. Yeah. Well, we don't mean to diminish your importance to our show, Sam.
Hey, what sort of beer is that you're drinking? I see the Nashville skyline on there.
Yeah, it's a Music City Light, so it's just like a Miller Light for Nashvillians.
You know, when we moved here, when Susie and I moved here, I kept thinking, you always keep your eye out for a music store when you're a musician, especially.
Sure.
You're like, you got to find that little mom and pop music store.
It's like a Radio Shack for tech people.
Yeah, and I didn't know that, they call everything Music City. So if you see Music City in any other city in the country, that means it's a music store. Oh, we got to go up to Music City. I need a tube for my amp and a couple of picks.
Right.
So it's like Music City. Oh, cleaners. Music City clean. Oh, hey, there's Music City movers. Music.
Everything here is Music City. That's true.
They should call it office supplies then for a real music store. Hi, I just flew in from Boston and I've drunk. You know what?
Boy, are you what?
In Boston, it's funny. Everybody's like giving you the finger and cutting you off, and it's just so funny because on the signs, they still have the pilgrim hat. It's like what?
It's so quaint.
We're really far from the
quaint.
pilgrim hat.
I think everybody's angry there because the roads aren't straight.
Well, I think the pilgrims are kind of like that to the.
You think the pilgrims gave the finger to each other?
Well, not each other, but the other people.
You mean the people who already live
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, who did the Pilgrims?
kinda
Dancing around the term.
You know, everybody hates somebody these days. Who did the Pilgrims hate? Who were? I mean, the
Well,
Native Americans.
Did
they hate them yet, or they just thought it was their
and the
land?
king and the monarchy because they told them how to be and what religion.
We're going to
and
discuss all of
so
this
many
even
things.
before our first guest comes on and figure it out. But this is episode 13,
I don't know.
14. This is we're on a roll. We have great guests.
We do.
Sonia Leigh. I think it's Sonia Leigh, or Lonya C. If I'm really 3 sheets to the wind.
Lonya C. Is that a musician term?
Oh
C,
yeah,
and I'll
Lonya
pay
C.
it back with a B on Tuesday.
That's pretty good. Damn. You drinking the Music City beer?
I'm not. Just some bubbly water. And we have Jeff Fasano here.
Yes.
Great photographer
Yes.
here in town.
He has a better
exciting.
version of a name that ends with one letter and the last name begins with the same letter. Because Jeff Fasano is great. My
Yes.
name is Scot Sax, and it's just I always have like a little build up of spit when I say a Scot Sax. It's
And if you had an O at the end of your name, it would be weird.
Scott Saxo. So that's a rando. You pulled a rando. That was rando. You know what? You're cringe. I learned a lot
Yeah,
of hip
Fasano is
tunes.
very nice to say.
I know, Jeff Fasano.
Jeff Fasano. It does roll off the tongue.
All right, well, let's go to some kind of commercial break or some kind of break, and we'll be right back with Jeff Fasano.
We will.
You're in my space, you're in my face. You're indiscreet, got big feet. My hands are dirty, I need the sink. You're super loud, I need to think. You're everywhere, you're everywhere, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. You're everywhere, you're everywhere. I wanna go there.
Jeff Fasano's here.
Jeff Fasano.
Everything's a song with Scott, as you probably noticed.
I don't think he can
can't
stop.
help
Hit him
it.
on the side. He can't get out of that
Ooh,
chord.
yeah,
Thank you,
nice,
Sam.
nice chord there, big finish.
It's so Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going classic. Did you ever see first of all, Jeff, thanks for being
Scott,
here. It's really
thank
great to hang out with you.
Yeah.
And
it's always great to hang
You
out
are a
with you.
staple of, and I don't mean, but you are. I don't mean you're bent and you don't. But
Or try to pick it out with your
yeah,
finger.
I know.
So
it's not a good,
screws
not a good
up.
example.
You
But
don't sound like you're from the South. Where are you
He's
from?
a staple
originally?
of East Nashville.
Yes,
is what I was
that
trying
is
to
true.
say.
I'm
Yes.
from New York.
I can tell
originally.
that. Me too. I recognize the accent.
They were married 1 week later. This is our Phil Donahue moment.
Yeah, right.
You mean you were born in a hospital in New York City?
On Staten Island, New
Oh,
York.
nice.
That's pretty awesome.
Staten Island Hospital. That's what I was born.
Yeah.
Is it still there? Because where I was born is now condos. St. Vincent's is now condos
You're
in the
from
village.
Staten Island?
No, in the
oh,
village.
yeah.
Yeah.
right. St. Vincent's closed
Yeah.
when I was still living in New York.
Yep. Sad.
Yeah.
And you are a photographer specializing in musicians, but also other people.
Yes.
I know of you mostly through musicians because I know of you through musicians that I
We
know.
met when I was doing a photo shoot with
Louise
Louise
Goffin.
Goffin.
Yeah. And I was filming it. It was weird.
You were filming
like
it.
filming a photo shoot. I wanted someone to do caricatures of me. Like at the mall, the mall. I want a caricature of me. Somebody should get a caricature of themselves on their album cover, just as a refreshing. They took the worst feature and like blew it up.
Yeah.
know?
I know a guy who does that, Scott.
Well, the guy who did all the caricatures at Sardi's.
Yeah. Oh, I love.
Yeah, those are good. That used to be a thing. Like
Sardi's.
there were people that would go to
Yeah.
parties and do
Parties at
caricatures of the
Sardi's,
guests
yeah.
and things.
The
yeah.
guy on if you walk through Times Square.
Yeah,
and
right.
The guy, everybody's stopping and he's doing caricatures.
I just
Yeah.
got him at
Of
the
the
mall
people.
where I grew up, and they would take like a 12. The parents would put the 12-year-old
Right.
kid down. The parents would go shopping for who knows what, and the next thing you know, the kid had a picture of their worst things that they're
Yeah,
really
it's
self-conscious
terrible.
about. It was the worst idea. What was the other one? Remember the printout thing everybody was into? When you looked close.
Oh, no, they would have the
Digital
screen
printout.
and they do the whole digital thing
Yeah.
and then hand it to you.
Yeah.
There's a guy that does that on TikTok, and he does these really terrible, giant teeth. The worst.
Oh.
but he doesn't let people see them while he's drawing
Oh, that's
them.
kind of
And then
funny.
you ready? And he turns it around, and either they laugh or they don't laugh,
That's life. That's my life. Either they laugh or they don't laugh. That's all I got. So, so other than musicians, who is your clientele? We're going to look at a couple of things.
Portraiture.
When did this come out?
That book came out last April, published by Vanderbilt University Press.
Oh, nice.
It's a beautiful book.
It's in-house,
Really
yeah.
nicely done.
And so we'll look at a couple pictures. And I know a couple of these people, which is really, it's cool
You
to see.
probably know everybody
Yeah.
in that book.
Some
Sonia and I
friends.
were in the green room looking at it.
I almost know her. Sonia.
Yes.
I don't know her yet. It's really neat to almost know somebody. That's what's great about a talk show, because you really know them after your talk show. I
Yeah,
wish parties were talk shows.
You
Hey, it's
really
like
do
it's
get
like
to
doing
know.
a photo shoot.
Yeah.
I might not know the person that well doing a photo shoot, but afterwards you know.
It's
that
interesting,
person after the
yeah. I
photo
used to
shoot.
do a lot of press junkets, and you're
Yeah.
in a room with somebody for an hour, and you really do get to know them.
You put a musician in a room with anybody, it's a therapy session. Anything. Dentist office.
A lot of my photo shoots have been therapy.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Have
is-
you ever been cheered up by a photo shoot you did? Like you had a bad couple days or something, and the photo shoot kind of took you out of your slump?
When I'm doing photo shoots, I'm in a whole new, different level of consciousness, to be honest
You get
with
into a zone.
it's a whole new world
That's
Really?
a great
that I'm
photo.
in. And it doesn't matter what's going on in my life, what's happening in my
Yeah.
life. Once I pick up that camera, it is a whole new, different level of consciousness.
And no pun intended, but specific and focused. Like you're in that world now.
Yeah.
Right. And it's relaxing.
And the thing about it is, it takes me out of thinking about myself,
Yeah.
because my photo shoots are never about me.
Which is a relaxing thing, to be
Yeah.
not self-conscious.
Sort
Yeah.
of hyper-focused
It's all
on
on
what you're
whoever
doing.
I'm photographing.
And we're looking at Nikki Lane here.
That's a beautiful photo.
And-
Where was
and-
that shot?
The old Donaldson Bowl.
Oh, okay. I knew it
long
kind of
gone
looked
from
familiar.
now.
It is gone.
I don't know the Donaldson Bowl.
They
Was that
took-
where they were going to put East Side Bowl at?
I think
No.
There's
no.
like 5 bowling alleys down there.
Yeah.
They knocked down the building. That was she and I met the morning of that. We met at the old Family Wash.
Oh, really?
The original OG.
And and she had her record release party and played on the lanes at Donaldson Bowl.
How cool.
Oh, that's,
And then we did some photos afterwards,
I'd
and that's
love
how
to
we
see
got
that.
that.
Kris Kristofferson.
Kris, you in the green room, you were having a conversation, and you told a great story about Kris Kristofferson introducing you to Brian Wilson, of all people.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I was invited to shoot this Beatle night at Gibson Showroom in Beverly Hills when I was living in LA. So I went up and I'm looking around, and it was the North American opening of this worldwide photo exhibit of Beatle images taken by their road manager. Nobody
Neil
had ever
Aspinall.
nobody
Yeah?
had ever seen these, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
And then I walked to where the offices are in the back, in this one big room, and I walk in and I look around, and there's Kris Kristofferson, there's Brian Wilson, there's Robbie Krieger, there's America, there's Mickey Dolenz, and I look to my
Realized
left.
you took acid.
Yeah, exactly.
You were at a rest stop.
And then I look over, and there's Jimmy Webb and his wife, who I know
Yeah.
from New York City. Judy Collins introduced me to them, and I see them, and they're, Jeff, we're hanging out, and what I do is, when I was the only photographer there that night, so what I do is I go and introduce myself to everybody
That's smart.
to find out where they are, because I'm going to photograph them all night. And so I look around and I went, how am I going to introduce myself to Brian Wilson? It was daunting.
Yeah.
I did not, he was
Yeah.
just sitting there by himself.
He's not like anybody else.
And Kris walked over, sees me standing there,
He
and
helped you.
Jimmy Webb says, hey, Kris, this is Jeff Fasano.
That's the
We're
best.
friends from New York. And he doesn't know how to go and introduce himself to Brian Wilson. And Kris goes, come with me.
That's what he said.
And I walk over, and Kris goes, hey, Brian, this is Jeff Fasano. He's going to be shooting all night. And then I thought about about 1999 when I quit my job at 40 years old,
Very
sitting in
brave.
a cubicle in the World Trade Center going, I'm standing here now, and Kris Kristofferson is introducing me to Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
Life can't get any better than
You made the right decision.
And
I'd
as
say.
a big surprise, we're going to have him on the show right now.
Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
You know, there's a punk. Isn't there a punk band, Kris Kristofferson? Did you guys ever hear of them?
Oh, that's a great.
That's a punk
Really?
band for real.
If
Really?
there's not, then we need to start.
Yeah, no, I think there is. All right, now these two we know. We've had them over for dinner, and they are the Birds
Very
of
cool.
Chicago. I
Yes,
think.
yes,
Allison
yes.
Russell is having quite a year.
She is.
She's having quite a
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah.
She is, and it will only go further.
And it's cool to see her husband, you know, bringing the kid to school. You know, that's what we do. One brings their kid to school, the other is out being a rock star, then they switch, and that's like
I see her walking on the dog on the Greenway.
Yeah.
You know, Nashville's just like that.
I'm hoping they get back together again as a band.
Yeah, they're together.
They're together.
Yeah, I was like, I was afraid you were breaking. No, they're yeah.
I know he's still
was he the
writing a lot of this
Oh,
stuff.
right, because
that
they haven't recorded as Birds of Chicago.
In a long time.
Really?
I shot that in 2019 in Montreal.
It's
Now that's a
interesting.
different kind of shot because that's a couple. It's intimate. I heard that that when we look at ourselves in a mirror, the reason that if we see a picture of ourselves that was candid that we didn't expect and we're like, oh, I don't like that picture or whatever, is because that we subconsciously correct the way we're looking at the mirror.
Because
so
it's
it looks the way
backwards?
we do that. We do something with our faces so that we see the angle that we like. And so if you see it angled, Gina, literally, it's Gina's doubting face. Like just when this is why I'm not serious often. Because when I try to be serious, I'm always like somebody doubt. Usually
I'm
it's either
making
just
the face.
no.
Well,
Like when you look in the mirror, you're like this, and you're not gonna like go like that or just do something like that. You're kind of like unconsciously looking in the way that pleases you, and you're fixing your
Interesting.
mistakes. And then do you ever see a picture of you that you didn't know was taken? No, I don't mean like a picture where you're like talking with a bunch of people and you're presenting your face, but you're like literally like the last thing, and you're like, whoa, that looks nothing like me, and everybody's like, no, it looks exactly like you.
Well, you've been as an artist, you've been photographed a lot. You're a public person.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't learn how to pose for photos until I was many decades old.
How do you
Honestly,
Show us.
Well,
He-
just smile.
Tell
like
Jeff
how
how
to
to
smile.
Teach Jeff how
If
to
I know
pose.
somebody's going to take a photo, I call it the cheese face. I taught my kids how to
Like
do it.
stinky cheese?
You start to you do the fake smile, but it turns into a real smile.
So Giancarlo Esposito, I'm dropping a name here.
Drop them.
Okay, so I've photographed 2 different Broadway shows. I've done stuff on the West End. In 2008, I did Cat on a Hot Tin Roof on Broadway with James Earl
cool.
Jones, Felicia Rashad,
Wow.
Terrence Howard, Anika Noni Rose, and Giancarlo.
I don't know who Giancarlo is.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
I don't like to watch shows where someone gets kicked in the head. It's just like a rule. I don't know. Everybody complains about how violent the world is, and then they all watch violent shows before they go to bed. I don't really understand it.
Well,
I'm like a sissy.
Giancarlo, I originally saw Giancarlo on Homicide: Life on the Streets.
Like
Back way in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's on the show, but so I did all the cast photos and everything. So I'm shooting, and I hear this guy going, "Yes, yes," and I'm, "What the heck?" And it's Giancarlo. And if you keep on saying yes long enough, you start laughing to yourself, and a great smile photographs.
That's a good trick. That's a trick.
He taught me that.
Interesting.
If you just keep
So
on
he
saying
knew you were
yes.
going to take his photo, or that his photo
Oh no,
would be
I was
taken, or-
taking a
so he
photo,
was-
and I hear this guy just going, "Yes, yes," and I looked at him.
I'm
Let me
going to
ask
try
you,
that.
Which photograph by, a photographer that you're a fan of, obviously, do you still marvel at?
Okay, so you guys remember Jim Marshall, photographer Jim
Yeah.
Marshall?
Yeah.
Jim was a dear friend of mine. We actually met. He called me.
Did you
and
do a lot of Allman Brothers?
he did the Fillmore East cover.
Yeah.
He did the famous shot of Johnny Cash flipping the bird.
Yeah.
He probably
Oh,
made
yes.
$1 million off
Yes.
of with that photograph.
Legend.
So he called me. I was walking, night 2009, my very first Americana Fest. I'm walking out of the basement. My phone rings. It's Jim Marshall. Anyway, the long story short, he introduced me to another great photographer, Timothy White. If anybody's never seen Timmy's work, it's just fantastic.
Was he also the editor of Billboard magazine? That
No.
Timothy? Okay, it's a different Timothy White. Okay.
So they were doing a book together called Match Prints, and Marshall he had a family of photographers, and I joined that family that night. Anyway, Timmy said, come up to my studio. It was like, we both lived in Manhattan, so I forget where it was. And we walked to his studio that night. We were flipping through the book that he was putting together, that they were doing together, called Match Prints. And I stopped him at this photograph that he did of Eric Clapton.
Oh, Clapton.
And it was like no other photograph of Eric Clapton that anybody has ever seen. And I looked at it, and I had tears in my eyes.
Was he performing? Was
Nope.
it a portrait?
It's just an amazing portrait, and you could feel. Timmy was a type of photographer that you look at his work and you just melt into the photograph.
What does a photographer do to get someone to feel that? How does that happen?
It's something inside of us. I know in me, it's a moment that you feel. It's not a moment that you see.
How much of it can you create, and how much of it is just presented to you in the moment? You know what I mean? You have control over the lighting and the...
That's all you have control over. Yeah. It's about being in the moment and making sure that you take yourself out of it. You totally take yourself out of it, and you are
I've
there
had a lot
to
of people ask me to take myself out of photographs.
and you just it's like
you have to be ready.
Henry Cartier-Bresson said, capturing the decisive moment.
You just have to know when to strike.
But feeling it.
Yeah,
it's a feel.
yeah.
So if you look at this shot of and I ask everybody to go out and check out this book, Match Prints, but look at that photo of Eric Clapton. He's holding these beads, and I said, dude, how did you get that shot? He goes, he just got out of rehab.
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't. It's not just a pose.
It was a moment that Timothy White is such a beautiful, beautiful man with a beautiful, beautiful heart, and you see it in all of his images.
And we have about a minute left. But what is your favorite photograph that you've taken? That's the one. If you could only show one of your photographs to somebody, what would it be?
Oh my God. Oh wow.
And the person's blind too. Sorry.
An easier way. How did you choose Keb Mo for the cover?
I didn't.
Oh.
Vanderbilt chose that.
Okay.
That we had a different. Oh, actually, Birds of Chicago. I wanted Birds of Chicago to be the cover of the book, and Vanderbilt came back to me when we were designing this, and I went, "Oh, it was brilliant. It was just a
The layout just worked.
I mean,
yeah, it's beautiful. With the
I could
typeface.
never have. I never even thought of that. Though a friend of mine who helped me choose the images for the book thought of it and never told me about it.
Oh, interesting.
the
They were
one
like,
I
oh
wanted
yeah,
for the
I had
cover.
that.
Oh, really?
I had that idea.
Yeah.
Well, these pictures are gorgeous, and
Americana Portrait
you're always a
Sessions.
good hang. Whenever I see you, you're part of our world here in East Nashville.
Yes.
And now especially Little Hollywood, and it's really cool to have a second to hang out and talk with you. It's the first time I've ever been around you where there wasn't a camera or coffee.
This is true.
Or your cameras. Anyway.
Thank
you so
much.
much.
My camera's
Jeff.
turned into coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
coming.
Thank you.
We'll be
Thank
back
you.
with Sonia Leigh.
He says it's running slow. I don't know, it's just running slow. Can I help you?
Yeah. I bought a computer here like 5 days ago. I don't know. It was like a Mac PowerBook, Power Plus. I don't remember. It was a brand new computer. Pretty expensive, but understandable, I guess. You know, prices go up. I get it. So bought it here. It was a Friday. Brought it home. Drove home. Set it up. Plugged it in. Went to power up, and it powers up like right away. You know, faster than the last one I had, that's for sure. So, powers up, right? Everything's fine. And next thing you know, I'm like cruising on the internet, I'm doing a thing, and it's just like bam, bam, bam. And my wife comes home and she says, you know, what's going on with the computer? And I say, well, you said it was a good idea. We should get a new computer because our computer runs like really slow. And she's like, yeah, I know, I did. So is that the new computer? And I said, yeah. And she said, how much was it? I told her how much it was. And she said, oh, you know, that's a pretty good deal. And, you know, the prices go up. What are you going to do? And I said, yeah. So anyway, so have the computer. You know, she's happy. It's fine. We get the computer. And friends come over. They're like, dude, that computer's amazing. Where'd you get that? And I tell them, you know, the Computer Corral, and you know, I think one of the guys said, you know, oh, maybe I get a computer there, and you know, that was last Friday, by the way. So, and I'm a good customer. So, I just wanted to know if can I get an external hard
drive?
Sonia Leigh, you can clap.
This music just screams Sonia Leigh, doesn't it? That's if you wanted to explain your music to anybody.
Spells my name out.
How would you explain your music? Because you kind of run the gamut.
Who
of
are we
things.
talking to?
Sonia Leigh.
Ah, that's what I thought. Not Sonia Leigh. No,
Oh, not
she's
Sonia. Sonia.
Sonia Leigh.
However you decide to say it is fine with me.
Okay.
Doesn't bother me.
But you do like country and rock and hip hop, and you've written songs for Zach Brown.
It's a big, beautiful mess.
Oh, you worked
That's
that
why-
right in there.
That's
Very
why
good.
I
right
get
to
this
it.
desk.
That just happens to be the name of her new single, which is beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Really nice.
I know, it's so great to have a musical guest that you're not lying through your teeth that they're great. And I'll tell you why. I'm glad you asked me this.
That's cool.
Because we're not just having anyone on this show. I'm just here to make that announcement. You know, it's like this is a curated show. It's like we have musicians and artists and people that we feel it. And I Sally, Jaye turned me on to you, and I went on Spotify, and there's like, you know, 170 Sonia Leighs, and there are so many of everybody. Even Paul McDonald was on the other week. I was like, which one? You know, I don't know. But so I was driving with my wife, and I'm like, Suze, put on. I may have said Sonia Leigh. I don't know. Sonia Leigh. I listened to one song, but I want to really get to know her music, and she put it, and you know, with all due respect to the imposters, there's was there like 5 of them in there, but whatever we were listening to,
Just follow along. It's
okay.
I'm
right
here.
here.
He'll get there.
whatever we were listening to, it actually was pretty good, but it made Phoebe Snow seem like death metal. It was like really like, it was sort of like, you know, just a female voice with that. It was nice, and I'm like, this is her, you know, and I'm like, and it wasn't you. It was the other Sonia Leigh.
Was it spelled
Grudge match.
correctly? It was probably spelled differently.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She just it wasn't spelled the way yours. I was driving.
There's somebody else we
And
know
then-
that has the same name as somebody who's really different, and I can't remember who right now.
And then we put on the right one with the right spelling, and I'm like, see, I was like, Sally J's not gonna send us some powder puff with a fucking ukulele. We're trying to get
I think
sponsors.
there is a Christian artist that's Sonia Leigh as well, somewhere out there.
It was probably,
but it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
So you could have gotten
the first time my
closer to
daughters
the Lord on your drive.
The first time my daughters saw at church, they literally said, how come there's a plus sign on top of that building? That's what happens when you're Jewish. Driving in
Plus sign. So what do you say?
I was like, it's a long story, and I can't get into it now. I've asked myself many times. Yeah, what should we add? I just have compliments.
Oh.
But what? Ask her something.
Well, you got started through the Southern Ground Studio, like a lot of people who come to Nashville.
Oh, that is the deal? I see
Yeah.
that? Okay. What do you mean? So how do you get started through that studio? I've spent a lot of time there, too, with Brandon Bell.
Oh yeah. Well, I came up through Georgia before that studio was born.
So you knew Zach
Nashville,
before?
Yeah. So before Zach had his big hits and things like that, even Sally Jaye, who works on your show, knew. We go way back before all of that, and so we kind of were both working the scene in Atlanta, Georgia, and we met, and I started opening for him, and then things started really blowing up for his music, and then he started a label, and I was the first artist that he signed.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're like, he's Diana Ross and you're Michael Jackson. Is anybody or Joan Baez and Bob Dylan, you know, like where somebody, you know, he made it first, and then he helped. And did he sign you to his label? Was Southern Ground his label too?
And I was on that label for 3 or 4 years, and we did a lot of national touring, and really a lot of great things happened.
Wow, that must have been fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've toured with Willie Nelson, Joan Jett, Loretta Lynn, Eric Church.
Yeah.
That's some pretty
And
big acts.
did they bring you? Did everybody bring you on? You seem like a person that someone would be like, I want you to do a song with us.
No, I wish. Gosh, if I was on stage with Loretta Lynn or Joan Jett or any of those people. I did get to go on stage. One of the guys who played in Willie Nelson's band came up and sang with me at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, and that was really cool. Came up and sang with me.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, meeting Willie Nelson was monumental for me because I grew up, and Loretta Lynn as well. My very first concert was Loretta Lynn when I was 5. So that was when I realized that's what I really wanted to do.
So she was your inspiration.
Yeah.
So what was it like
Next
meeting
thing I
her?
remember. Oh, it was great. She was beautiful.
Was she all dressed out in the?
Yeah,
in the
she had this big blue dress on, and I came up on her bus and got to say hello. And she was, and
she's like royalty. Yeah.
And I have a couple things. Hang on a second.
You should see his notes. It's like
you know what I wrote?
It's like a cartoon.
I know. Well, I was on the plane. And,
he drew a picture of me. I see it.
I know.
It's a character.
No, I wrote a movie idea, and
look, you're writing a unicycle, Sonia.
No, this is a Frenchman. Oh, I wrote the weirdest short film and all that, and yeah. No, this. You know what? I'll show you
Could
what I wrote.
Sonia play the Frenchman?
What did I? There's your name, probably misspelled, but what did I write underneath it?
I can feel your chest beating.
I can feel your chest beating.
Oh.
That's what I love about your stuff.
Thank you.
I was
That
like,
means
and
a
I said
lot.
to Suze, I was like, you know what? I can like, you don't hear that enough. You don't hear that intensity. Like, really hear it, especially in a studio setting, because people forget that it's about the moment. Kind of like we were talking about with Jeff with photographs. You know, the moment, and they just go for what's correct. Let me sing it correctly.
Right, yeah.
You know, you write a song, we'll say I wrote it, and I'm going to sing it, and I'm going to sing it really well, because I'm in the studio.
The other stuff comes out live normally.
Yeah, and it's a drag when you get the record, and it's not there. And I was like, you know what? You can feel her chest beating. I was like, I love this, and I really, really do. And
That's
I think
a big compliment. Thank you.
You're great.
That's one of the best compliments I've heard. Thank you.
I mean it. And that's it. What can that people look for from you? And we're gonna have you do a song for us. But do you want to tell anybody about anything coming up?
Well, I've got my new record's coming out August 8th, and so I've been doing some recording, and that'll be out on the 8th.
You're still working on that record? That's coming out?
Yeah, I'm going into the studio this Wednesday to finish up a couple songs.
Oh, cool.
But I've gotten to work with some great producers. I got to work with Nico Bolas, who did everything with Neil Young. He's done stuff with Melissa Etheridge and Prince, and then Sylvia Massey, who's worked with Tor. I was blown away to get to work with her. And also I got to work with Christian Bush and Brandon Bush. So I'm really excited about getting this material out. It's been a while since I've released a record. So.
Just Rob the man.
What's the new album called?
I haven't thought of the title yet. It might be Last String of the Thrill.
What is it?
Last String of the Thrill.
Oh, all right. Last String of the Thrill. Well, there's no other album called that.
No.
And you really can't say that if you're drunk, because you can barely say
Yeah,
it.
You can't say it 5 times
I just had a beer
fast.
backstage. So maybe
last drink at the well.
Last drink.
Hey, last call at the well. Drink, anyone? I like it. You can say it in many ways. I always say that's why they call hospice. Because you can't, when you're that sick, deathly sick, you can't pronounce hospital. I'm at the hospital. I'm at hospice. We'll be right back, folks.
Thank you.
He's doing mine.
Woke up in the middle of a bad dream, head swinging just like a bell. Down the street I could hear Sirens singing, don't go, baby, don't go there. Held my tongue like a sword in a fight, bit my cheek just to swallow my pride. But I'm still here singing to a bird on a wire. Don't go, baby, don't go there. So is there any wonder my heart is breaking still? Tell me, is there any wonder that I'm hanging on? I'm just hanging on to the last string of the thrill. Ooh, last string of the thrill. Never thought I would lose control. Held it like a rock in my hand, but a heart has a mind of its own. It falls so slow and sinks so low. The blue lights tried to warn me, the train tried to turn me around, but I waited like an angel on death row, falling so slow, singing down, go there. She was never there at all. Now my eyes see through these cold four walls. She disappeared like she was never there at all. Now my eyes see through these cold four walls. Last string of the thread. Tell me, is there any wonder that my heart, tell me, is there any wonder that I'm hanging on, just hanging on, I keep hanging on to the last string of the thrill. Ooh, last string of the thrill. Woke up in the middle of a bad dream, head swinging just like a bell. Down the street I could hear a siren singing, don't go, baby, don't go there.